I'm 21, my parents passed away, and I'm inheriting everything. What should I do? My parents passed away recently, and now everything they owned is being passed down to me. It still doesn't feel real. One day they were here, living their normal lives, and now I'm left with everything they worked for. I'm only 21, and I don't think I was prepared for something like this. But life doesn't wait for you to be ready. It just happens. I am the only child. There are no siblings to share this with, no one else who understands exactly how this feels. It's strange to think that just a short while ago, I was living a normal life, working full time, saving up a little money, and figuring things out as I went. Now, suddenly, I am responsible for an entire estate. There's a house, furniture, a car, and money that I never expected to have at this age. It's overwhelming, but there is no time to sit and think about it for too long. The house is going to be sold right away, and after that, everything will change. I've always been careful with money. I never spent more than I needed to, and I managed to save up around $12,000 on my own. That's not bad for someone my age, but the amount I'm inheriting is on a completely different level. Depending on what the house sells for, I might end up with somewhere between $200,000 and $300,000. That's more money than I've ever had, more money than I even know what to do with. It doesn't feel like real life. The house is full of things that belong to my parents: the furniture, the TV, the small things that made it feel like home. Now they belong to me. I haven't even figured out what to do with everything yet. I know I won't keep most of it, but letting go of those things feels like letting go of them. It's strange, standing in the middle of a house that was once filled with life, knowing that soon it will belong to someone else. There's also the car. I've thought about trading it in, but I haven't made a final decision yet. Right now, my main focus is figuring out what to do with the money. I don't want to waste it, and I don't want to make any mistakes. I know the safest thing to do is put it in a high yield savings account, at least for now. That way, it can grow over time while I figure out a real plan. But beyond that, I have no idea what I should do. I don't have parents to guide me, and I don't have siblings to share the burden with. It's just me, standing at the start of something completely unknown. I know I have to be smart about this, but I don't even know where to begin. Money has always been something I've been careful with. I never spent more than I needed to, and I always made sure to save what I could. Before all of this happened, I had around $12,000 in my savings account. It wasn't much, but it was mine. I built it up slowly over time, setting aside whatever I could from my paycheck. It gave me a sense of security, knowing I had something to fall back on if I ever needed it. But now, things are different. I'm about to inherit more money than I ever imagined having at this age. When the house is sold, I could end up with somewhere between $200,000 and $300,000. It's a number so big that it doesn't even feel real. I've never had to think about managing that kind of money before. It's not like I've won the lottery, but for someone like me, someone who has always lived paycheck to paycheck and saved in small amounts, it feels massive. I know that money like this can disappear fast if I'm not careful. I've seen it happen to other people. They come into money, spend it on things they don't need, and before they know it, they're back to where they started. I don't want that to happen to me. This money could change my life if I use it the right way, but that's the problem. I don't know what the right way is. I work full time, which helps. It means I don't have to rely on this money to survive, at least not right away. I can take my time and figure things out. But even that thought makes me nervous. How much time do I really have before life starts demanding decisions from me? Should I invest? Should I save? Should I use some of it to go back to school? I've never been in this position before, and I have no one to guide me through it. The idea of putting the money into a high yield savings account seems like a safe first step. It's not the most exciting choice, but it's secure. At least I know the money will be growing instead of just sitting there. But beyond that, I don't have a solid plan. Then there's the car. It was my parents', and I don't know if I should keep it or trade it in for something else. It still runs fine, but I wonder if selling it and putting that money towards something more practical would be a better choice. It's another decision I have to make, and I don't have the answers yet. I've always thought of myself as good with money, but this situation is bigger than anything I've ever handled before. Saving a few $100s here and there is one thing, but managing an entire estate is something else entirely. I don't want to make mistakes. I don't want to waste what my parents left behind. I want to be smart, but I don't know what smart looks like in this situation. For now, I just keep reminding myself to go slow. I don't have to make every decision today. I don't have to have all the answers right now. I just have to take it one step at a time and hope that somehow I figure it out. The house still smells the same, that familiar mix of old wood, warm coffee, and the faint scent of my mother's favorite candles. It feels like if I stood still long enough, I might hear my parents talking in the next room. But I know that's not going to happen. The house is empty now except for their things. Everything in this house belongs to me now. The furniture, the decorations, the little things they collected over the years. Every room is filled with memories, some big, some small. The couch where my dad used to fall asleep watching TV, the dining table where my mom always made sure we had dinner together, the pictures on the walls, the books on the shelves, the dishes in the cabinets. It's all mine now, but I don't know what to do with it all. The house is going to be sold soon. That was decided early on. It's not just a house, it was their home. But it doesn't feel like mine, and even if I wanted to keep it, I couldn't afford to maintain it. Selling it makes sense, but the thought of someone else living here, making their own memories in a place where mine are still so fresh, feels strange. Once the papers are signed and the keys are handed over, this house will belong to someone else. That's hard to accept. Then there's the car. It's still sitting in the driveway just like my dad left it. I don't know whether I should keep it or trade it in. It runs fine, but part of me wonders if holding on to it makes sense. Maybe it would be smarter to sell it and put the money towards something else. But then again, it was my dad's. He drove it every day. It's one of the last pieces of him that I have. Letting it go feels like losing another part of them. And it's not just the big things like the house and the car, it's the smaller things too. The TV, the furniture, the kitchen appliances, the clothes still hanging in their closets. Some of it I can sell, some of it I can donate, but some of it I just don't know what to do with. It's hard to separate what's practical from what's sentimental. I know I can't keep everything, but choosing what stays and what goes isn't easy. I don't want to hold on to things just because they remind me of my parents, but at the same time, I don't want to erase everything they left behind. I never thought I'd be making decisions like this at my age. Most people my age are thinking about school, work, or relationships. I'm standing in my parents' house trying to figure out what to do with everything they left behind. The house will be gone soon. The car might be too. The furniture, the decorations, even the little things. It will all be divided, sold, or given away. And after that, all I'll have left are memories. I just hope that's enough. The money hasn't even hit my account yet, but I can already feel the weight of it. It's not excitement, it's pressure. I know how easy it is to lose money when you don't have a plan. One bad decision, one impulse purchase, and suddenly everything my parents left behind could be gone. That thought keeps me up at night. I've always been good with money, at least in the small ways that I could be. I worked full time, saved what I could, and never spent recklessly. That's how I managed to put away $12,000 before all of this happened. But 12,000 and 200,000 are very different things. Saving up small amounts over time is one thing, but handling an entire inheritance is something I've never done before. Right now, my only solid plan is to put the money in a high-yield savings account. It's the safest move I can think of. At least that way, the money won't just sit there doing nothing. It will grow, even if only a little. And while it sits there, I can take my time figuring out what to do next. But even that decision feels temporary. I know I can't just leave the money in savings forever. At some point, I'll have to do something with it. Should I invest it? Should I use some of it to go back to school? Should I buy something that could help me in the long run, like a home of my own? There are too many choices, and I don't know enough about any of them to make a decision right away. Then there's the car, my parents' car. It still runs fine, but I've been thinking about trading it in for something newer or more reliable. Or maybe I should just sell it and add that money to my savings. But part of me wonders if I even need a car right now. I could use public transportation, or I could buy something smaller and cheaper that gets me where I need to go. Every option leads to another question, and I don't know which answers are right. The last thing I want is to waste this money. I've heard too many stories about people who come into money and end up with nothing a few years later. That can't be me. I don't want to make mistakes and I don't want to be reckless. But at the same time, I don't want to hold on to it forever. Too scared to use it at all. I keep telling myself that I don't have to make every decision right now. The money is mine, and no one is forcing me to do anything with it immediately. But knowing that doesn't make it easier. Every day I think about what my parents would have wanted me to do. Would they have told me to save it, invest it, use it to build a better future? I wish I could ask them. For now, all I can do is take things one step at a time. I'll put the money somewhere safe and I'll learn as much as I can before making any big moves. That's the only plan I have right now. And maybe, for the time being, that's enough. I don't have anyone to ask. That's the hardest part. If my parents were still here, they would have helped me figure all of this out. My dad would have told me to be smart, to save, to think about the future. My mom would have reminded me to take care of myself and not be afraid to spend a little on things that matter, but they're not here. And now every decision is mine alone. I wish there was someone who could just tell me exactly what to do, someone who has been in my position before, who understands what it's like to suddenly have this responsibility dropped in their lap. I know I could go to a financial advisor, but I don't even know where to start with that. Who do you trust when it comes to money? And how do I know they're giving me the right advice? I don't have siblings to talk to. No one else is sharing this inheritance with me. It's all on my shoulders, and sometimes that thought is overwhelming. I don't want to mess this up. I don't want to look back years from now and realize I wasted an opportunity to do something good with what my parents left me. I've thought about asking friends, but most of them are my age. They're just figuring out life themselves, working jobs, paying rent, and trying to save whatever little they can. None of them have had to handle something like this. I don't even know if they'd understand what I'm going through. It's not just about money, it's about what it represents. It's everything my parents worked for, everything they left behind, and now I have to decide what happens to it. I've tried looking things up online, articles, videos, forums. There's so much information out there, and all of it feels different. Some people say I should invest, others say I should buy a house. Some suggest keeping it all in savings, while others say that's the worst thing I could do. There's no clear answer, no perfect plan that fits my situation. It makes me feel even more lost. I don't need someone to make the decisions for me. I just need guidance. I need someone to help me see the bigger picture, to explain my options in a way that makes sense. Right now, I feel like I'm standing at a crossroads with 100 different paths, and I have no idea which one leads to a future I won't regret. I keep reminding myself that I don't have to figure it all out today. The money isn't going anywhere. I can take my time, do my research, and learn before making any big decisions. But there's still this nagging feeling that I should be doing something more, that if I wait too long, I'll miss an opportunity or make a mistake without even realizing it. Maybe the best thing I can do right now is keep asking questions, keep looking for advice, and trust that eventually I'll find the answers I need. I just wish I had someone to help me find them.